What's up, y'all? We're back on an episode of the Dopamine Podcast Dealer. Today's episode is featuring my favorite tattoo artist of all time, Douglas Lopretto. He's a super good friend of mine. He's also a big reason that I'm inspired to kind of start doing a podcast and trying to put some more light out there into this dark world we all live in. If everyone could do me a favor and just welcome Douglas Lopretto. Hi, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. How about yourself?
Doing fairly well, man. I'm appreciative that you came on today, and hopefully we can ask some questions that maybe I don't even know about you.
Okay.
So the first question, and I know I'm relative to this because I know when I come in there, it's a lot more than just a tattoo session. It's us talking about life amongst other things, and usually you zap me with some good wisdom that I take home for later. So a stereotype about tattoo artists, is part of the process. Some people consider it therapy, being stabbed with needles, and aside from the physical part of that, I'm sure a lot of people also talk to you about their life stories, kind of what's going on. How do you carry that emotional weight after they leave? Because I know you're kind of like me and you're an empath.
It's tough. It's tough. I feel like I should add, certified therapist onto my wall next to my, you know, awards that I've gotten for tattooing this and that, or my accolades. Like here's my degree in art and photography, and yes, I'm also a licensed therapist. But it does seem like that. Most of my repeat clients seem to come back every time or seem to get tattooed every time something significant happens in their life, or anytime life changes, stuff like that. I used to always say I would get tattooed every time my life changed, whether it was for the better or, well, excuse me, whether it was for the best or something for the worse. I would always get something to remind me of that moment. But how I deal with it, that's a very good question. I try to not hold on to it. I try my hardest. Sometimes it does kind of bleed into me, and I take it home with me, and I don't ever mean to. Usually what I end up doing, or what I have been doing lately, is I'll go for a walk. Exercise a little bit. That seems to help. I'm trying to think what else I do. Hang out with friends, just anything to like take my mind off of it. Cause sometimes it gets pretty dark. As a tattoo artist, a lot of people trauma dump on us. And,
I'm one of those people.
and that's cool. And that's cool. My thing that I do is I try to listen as much as I can. Because I noticed in the past, earlier in my career, I would always try to relate, but I found, especially in the past few years, the best thing to do is just or just listen. Like put yourself aside and do what you're doing. Make eye contact, nod our head, agree, stuff like that. I found that that's better and more comforting to people. And I think what happens is with these sessions, people tend to realize that we have a lot more similarities than we think, in this world where it's constantly pushing division. Once you actually sit and talk to somebody, you realize, hey, almost everybody's going through something. Almost everybody's trying to deal with everything that's going on right now. So
No,
not
I
sure if
got
I fully answered your question,
no, I
but
think you did, man. I mean, everything you're
okay.
saying, even though we're in two different capacities, I'm a retail worker at a cell phone store, but people trauma dump on me too a lot, and a lot of the times, like I tell them, I'm not necessarily happy that they're going through what they're going through, but I'm happy for them, being willing to open up because a lot of times it helps me with my own struggles. Just realizing that hey, maybe I'm not as crazy as I think I am. There's other people out there that have similar thoughts, but still deep down are a good
Yeah.
person. And just like sometimes I can hear a story and it made me depressed, I can hear a story and it'll uplift me for the day as well. Just like seeing that there's other people out there that are like minded, like you and me are. And not everyone's evil. The world is evil,
Mhm.
but there's a lot of good out there still.
Yeah, one thing I've learned, especially in the past 5 years, is good and evil isn't as black and white as the movies make it out to be, There's a lot of gray area, and there's a lot of people don't operate in that same moral code that some people do. They like just finding out that some people have an inner voice and some people don't blows my mind, but
Uh,
it
that
just
that is crazy, dude.
Because I definitely am one of those people that has an inner voice that is constantly fighting with me day after day and telling me to do this and do that and blah blah blah, and but yeah, at the end of the day, I think while I do take it home with me, I try to just take a few deep breaths and let it all out, in all honesty, because the best thing for me is just being home with my wife or hanging out with friends, stuff like that, and because of my job, I'm able to do that,
No, and
you
that's
know?
that's important, man, because at the end of the day, just like how I said, I consider myself similar to you and love, listening and trying to help people. But to keep yourself sane, you have to almost have like an emotional wall of some sort up, because if you let all of that in and think about it too much, then you're going to drive yourself crazy. And there's no point in doing that, because it's not like that's going to help somebody either. So there's like
Exactly.
that finding that fine line. And sometimes it's hard, especially when it's, a story that actually like really hits home and you resonate with.
Yeah, so to sum it up or to conclude that question would be, or my answer to that question would be finding, like you said, creating that wall in a sense and learning to relate and listen, but not rehatch my own story of trauma to go along with theirs, because that's when it hits me too hard. I have to learn to absorb it, not try to like fully relate to it, if that makes sense.
It,
I'm not
it
sure if I
makes
said that
sense.
right, but you get what I'm saying.
I get what you're saying, bro. Because I mean, I've had to deal with that too, and it's like I know you're like me in this sense too. Like if I'm not proactively trying to help people whenever they talk about that stuff, that makes me feel some type of way. But at the same time, if you let it in too deep and it becomes your trauma and then brings up your past experiences too much, then it's like you're not strong enough to help the other person either doing it like that. No, I think
Exactly.
that was a very good answer to that question, man.
Thank you.
So
Thanks.
one thing I think about all the time with tattoos, and I don't know if I'm sure you don't feel like this anymore, but I'm sure you did at first, is tattoos are one of those things that whenever, someone comes in to get an appointment, it's not like a painting where they could be like, okay, I don't like this. Could you redraw it for me? Like that is pretty much permanent on them. I know there's some ways for you to edit little things, but for the most part, I'm just wondering, like, how long did it take you, would you say, to start having, like, not having those thoughts of like, oh shit, what if I fuck up? Or, like, do you still suffer from them from time to time even though you've been doing it for so long?
So I've been tattooing for 21 years. Okay. My first 4 years of tattooing, I had the shakes.
Uh,
Like, and what I mean by that is like I was in my head for those 4 years. I was constantly in my own head and being like, oh, this tattoo is going to be on them for the rest of their lives. I got to do the greatest job ever, this and that. But during those 4 years, while I was putting this immense amount of like stress on myself, I realized that people move, people wiggle, people cough, people sneeze, whenever Snapchat first hit the scene, there was nothing worse than you're sitting there tattooing somebody and all of a sudden "Woo, what's up? I'm Team Tatted. Look at me. Hey, what's up, everybody?" Meanwhile, you're trying to do a straight line. And eventually, or no, one day after those 4 years, I remember looking up and seeing a sign in my second mentor's booth that said, "You wiggle, you wear it." And that was a huge breath of fresh air for me, let me tell you, because it was like, oh, it's not all on me. It takes two to tango. So, like, now what I do when I tattoo somebody and we finish the tattoo and it looks really good, I say, "Hey, you did a really good job." And sometimes they're taken back by that. And then I tell them it takes two people to make a good tattoo. Yeah, two people, sometimes three, sometimes four. I've done some collaborations in the past, this and that, where there was like three of us working on a back at one time, which is
that would be
absurd.
amazing.
It was painful. It was painful. I felt bad for the guy who was getting it done because this is like 20 years ago, and three of us were doing this back piece all at once. And what would happen, something weird was going on to where if two of us were tattooing and then the third one would come in, it somehow was shocking the guy. Like there was like this current that was being created. And yeah, weird stuff. So you just never know. But eventually, after like 4 years of tattooing, I eventually got over myself. I always tell every person I've ever taught how to tattoo and any other person that ever asked me about tattooing, I say this: there is zero competition except for yourself. Your biggest competitor, your biggest hindering force is you, or it's me. It's the reflection in the mirror. So for those 4 years, the only one holding me back was me. You get what I'm saying?
No, I think that's the type of advice, man, you can take into any direction of your
To
life.
anything. Yeah, true. But now every tattoo I do, I say to myself, okay, this person's probably gonna move a little or do this or do that. And I just deal with it. After doing it for so long, you just figure out a way to cover up those coughs, sneezes, or to like fix little like sudden burst or movement, something like that. You just learn how to like anticipate it and how to, I don't want to say fix it, but how to take care of that type of situation when that situation occurs, you know?
No, that makes good sense. Not that this is the same at all, but for example, when I was a server at Eaton Park, there was more than one occasion when you ordered food, maybe 30 minutes ago, and I'm like, oh shit, I forgot to put their order in. So something I came up with to fix that is I'd be like, you know what, sir, your food just came up. Let me take a quick look. I took a quick look at it, but you know what? I didn't feel right serving you this order. It didn't look good enough to me. It was burnt. I told my chef to go back there and make it on the fly because I just didn't feel right serving it to you.
Perfect.
Well, it's just like no matter what job you have, I guess the point I'm
Yeah.
getting at is like whenever you get anxiety, you come up with ways to like cope with it or make it sound
Mhm.
better or feel better. Cause I know I'm one that I move a lot when you're tattooing me because I pick some painful spots.
And that happens. What's tough on my end is when you go to start a huge project and right off the bat, the like first few lines, the person's moving, they're squirming, this and that, and it's just like, okay, all right, I guess I better buckle into this. This is gonna be a tough one, and you just try to do your best. I can only do as good of a job as people let me, because it'd be kind of weird if I strap people down.
No, for sure. Even though I'm sure in some of my appointments that may help, but everything on me looks pretty good for as much as I moved.
You do good, bro. You do good. Don't be
No,
so hard on
speaking of
yourself.
what you mentioned earlier with the life transitions of people getting tattoos, I'm gonna have to hit you up for one soon, brother.
Time,
It's time.
anytime. You know how it works with me. All you gotta do is send me a message. I get you in.
I appreciate it, bro.
Likewise.
So I guess this kind of ties into the same kind of thing. There's a
What's that?
chemical rush people get from the pain of a tattoo. Me myself, I fully admit I don't like it. I hate it. But I know some people are like, "Oh, it doesn't hurt or it feels so good. I love going in there." Do you think your clients are addicted to the art or are they addicted to the chaotic piece of like the process?
I'd say it's about 70. I'd say about 30% of the people are addicted to the art and 70% of the people are addicted to the process because it is one pain that you can somewhat control to an extent and then get something to show for it. It's kind of like a tough mudder competition. You know what I mean? Like, hey, look at me. Look at my tattoo. I just did tough mudder, you know? Exactly. Exactly.
So I guess where we were finishing up at there before I accidentally pulled the mic out, you were talking, kind of telling me that you thought 70% of people get tattoos more for like the having the art on their body, which I consider myself more as, and you were saying you probably think about 30% or more for like, okay, I'm sitting through these 3, 4 hours of agonizing pain, but when I come out of there, I'm gonna have a piece. The only thing with me really that I can take with me to the grave.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, I was stating that one section of people, it's kinda like a Tough Mudder contest, they enter it and they say, "Look at me, I went through all this, and this is what I have to show for it." I know that when I used to get tattooed, I mean, I still do, but back in the day when I got tattooed before I became a tattoo artist, every time I got a new tattoo, I would just be like, "Oh, check me out. Look what I got." Like, it gives you this, like, confidence booster, you
It
know?
does. No, it really does.
Tremendously because you've overcome something. And that's the thing, back to what we were talking about in the beginning about the whole trauma thing, is like you've gone through a trauma, but now you have something to show for it. So that's what I think a large portion of people are like, that's why they get tattooed, because it's one trauma that they can control. And then there's other people who are just obsessed with the art. I have clients that come to me from Michigan, the Carolinas, Virginia, like Ohio, Erie, because that's its own place. Like, I got people that come from me from all over, and those are more my collectors I feel, that come in for the art. They see me post something online and then they have to have it, or I draw some flash and they're like, "Oh my God, I have to have it." But then, like I was saying earlier, with a lot of my other collectors, a lot of my local ones, they seem to hit me up every time life changes, every time something significant happens, whether it's a death in the family or their kid graduated, I don't know, elementary school or middle school or high school or something, and to celebrate achievements, to also celebrate, I don't know, stuff like that.
Hey, bro.
I tend to rant, sorry.
You're good, bro. I get 100% what you're saying, and
Yeah.
you guys heard it here first. If you like traditional tattoos, not only is Doug one of my personal favorites, but he's a really good guy, and he's the type of artist that deserves to be supported. So I'm gonna make sure wherever I post this, I have his tattoo shop in the description, so you guys can know where to find him.
And I don't only do traditional. That's what all my awards are in. But lately, because of the past, like, I don't know, 7, 8 years of my career, I've been really focused on learning how to do everything, because I come from a philosophy where it's like, if a tattoo walks through that door, somebody wants something in a certain style. If you don't know how to do it, they're going to go to somebody else. So what I've been doing is I've been learning how to do fine line. I've been learning how to do anime tattoos, realism tattoos, everything. You know, I try to not be a one trick pony. And every person that I have taught too along the way, I've taught 6 people in 21 years, 3 of which still tattoo and talk to me. But
It's a
because
good odds.
everybody's your best friend when they want to learn how to tattoo, and you tell them this, you tell them, you're like, "Hey, this all resides on like your work ethic, because being a tattoo artist, you're an independent contractor. There's not some big corporation that's backing you. There's not, it's not like you work at Target or something like that, where if you don't sell, I don't know, this or that in a day, the company's not going to go under. If you don't tattoo, there's no money. You know what I mean?
There's no
And
company,
that's what,
period. No company,
what's that?
period. There's no company, period. Yeah,
There's
if
no
you
company.
yeah.
You are the company. So you have to represent yourself. You have to hustle for yourself, this and that, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like there are 2 types of people in this world. There are those who can work for themselves and those who have to work for others because they need direction. Working for yourself is a whole new ballgame. It's not for the weak. Not saying I'm some big strong guy, this or that.
Yes,
But
you are.
I have been hitting the kettlebells lately, bro. Look out. Look out. Getting old. I
Let's
gotta protect
football.
these bones. Yeah. But yeah, back to your question, it seems, yeah, a lot of people are addicted. They get addicted to that, like, that dopamine rush, that, adrenaline rush they get, and it's wild sometimes to see the patterns of people. It really is, to, like, take a step back and you're like, "Okay," and you can kinda, like, relate to what, a person's going through and how many times they get tattooed, or, stuff like that. It's wild.
Yeah, dude, what you should do is anyone who starts getting like who has gotten tattoos from you before, pay attention to their Facebook, man. If you see their dog died or something, you can just slide in the DMs and be like, "Yo, bro, you ready for that tattoo now, cuss?" Some gang shit.
You're funny.
I have to put it. I feel like the last couple episodes I've done, I've just been serious. So I'm trying to put a little bit more personality in it. You're
No,
the
no, I
person to
appreciate
bring it
that.
out, bro.
Yeah. Well, no, my dog just passed, and the first thing I wanted to do was get a tattoo of her dressed up as a mermaid, because we dressed her up as a mermaid one night. I'm gonna get that across my belly. And that's
Oh,
the thing. You go through a trauma and it's horrible. It breaks you, blah, blah, blah. And then you say to yourself, wait, there's a trauma, there's a pain I can control. So you go and you get tattooed. It's a weird mind over matter type thing, for
no,
sure.
for sure, man. I know anytime I've come in and got a tattoo, I definitely feel better, and it does. It gives you like just like some type of confidence that I don't really know how to explain. A sense of like individuality, I guess, is maybe the best word to put it.
Separating from the herd.
So here's something that I mean, I feel like this has been a big change over the last probably 70, 80 years, like the societal norm of tattoos. So I'm sure even from when you first started doing tattoos to now, you've noticed a little bit of a difference. Like I know I'll go into the hospital and the head doctor there will be covered in tattoos, or the cop I see having someone pulled over covered in tattoos. So it used to be, like a very underground thing. Like my grandpa always said, "Oh, only gang members get them." Blah 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 blah. How would you say, as an artist, with it becoming so popular and not so much of like a niche thing, do you handle kind of almost performing for social media without losing the soul of the work, as like the only way to really get yourself out there is to kind of go inside with the societal norms to get yourself noticed, but at the same time keeping like your own individual touch?
Okay. So first off, going back to the beginning of what you were talking about in this question, how like cops and stuff have tattoos. When I lived in Erie, because Erie's where I learned how to tattoo, the third shop that I worked at, Midtown Tattoo, was actually owned and ran by an Erie city cop, which is wild.
That's
Wow.
fascinating.
And then the whole force, the whole Erie police force, well, not all of them, but I'd say like 90% of them, sleeves just covered. Neck tattoos, hand tattoos, everybody's tattooed up there. It's just wild. But to get to your question, this is another thing that's kind of wild. Like I said, I've been tattooing for 21 years. In the beginning, 21 years ago, there really wasn't too much social media, this and that. And you would think that back in the day, it would be harder to get clients, but it's actually harder to get clients now because of the dance that you have to do for social media, because of the you have to learn how to best the algorithms. You have to know the right times of the day to post, how many times a day you have to post, this and that. When back in the day, I was in a hardcore band. So it was just like, what's up, everybody? Blah, we're a hardcore band. So I'm a tattoo artist. So come get tattooed by me. And then next thing you know, I'm tattooing everybody in the scene. Everybody's coming to me, which was great for a while. But like nowadays, yeah, it's hard. I had to have a long, hard conversation with myself, telling myself that me as a 45, about to be 46-year-old man has to get on TikTok or Instagram reels and do a dance basically. Or
I've seen quite a few of those from you, sir.
yeah, I'm trying. It's tough. Please
Save
know
for
that
research purposes for later.
yeah, please know that a part of me dies every time I do that.
That makes it so much happier to watch them. I'm
Right,
just
right,
kidding.
yeah. I've been trying to come up with some things. It's tough. It really is, because nowadays it seems like people don't necessarily seek out good tattoo artists. Some do, a lot of people seek out Instagram famous tattoo artists because they themselves, and this, I'm not talking smack on anybody in any way, shape, or form, because this goes deeper than what I'm about to say. But I'm sure you'll agree with me, and I'm sure you'll relate to an extent. People will do anything for that 10 seconds of fame. People will do anything to get 100 likes or this, or to feel important. So they go to this person who's really good at social media, that's only been tattooing for say a year or two, and charges 3, 4, 5, 10 times the amount what someone who's been tattooing 20 plus years does, but they have a higher following. So people go to them to get a tattoo in hopes that they'll put them in their stories or they'll post them, and then they'll feel that tiny little glimpse of being that celebrity. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think that's a big problem with social media is
It's a huge problem.
it gives you, like, feelings of gratitude and a feel good that's just simply fake, like, completely
Exactly.
fake. It's fake dopamine.
Exactly. I don't stand in front of a mirror for say my video is 4 minutes long. I don't stand in front of a mirror and stare at my phone like this. And then you see like 2 seconds of a tattoo that's probably going to heal horribly. And don't get me wrong, there are some young artists who are phenomenal artists, this and that, hustlers, top of the game, doing great. But at the same time, there is this massive influx of people. Tattooing now is completely different than what tattooing was 8 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, and beyond. It's completely different. I remember when I first started into tattooing, I came into it with a bachelor's degree, and they looked at me like I was an alien on another planet. They were like, because back in the day, it was only bikers and like the rougher type of person in society. You know what I mean? It was completely different. They didn't really let the art school kids in, and then they did, and then during COVID came the tattooing's gatekeeping and they're mean and this and that. And you saw all these people just buying machines off the internet and learning how to tattoo at home. I'll just say this, and I know a lot of people, if they hear me say this, they'll get upset, but I don't care. I went through an apprenticeship. I was homeless in order to learn how to tattoo. I lived in my car. I lived on friends' couches, and I eventually just worked myself up to like crappy apartments with too many people in them to crappy apartments with just a few people in them, until I eventually got my own apartment. It's like a ladder you got to climb. Crazy, right? But anyways, you got to pay your dues, and there's a reason why people go through apprenticeships or fellowships or internships, stuff like that, so that you learn the right way, so that you're not a danger to yourself and others. Like I myself, when I was in Erie, I was all about the regulation of tattooing because it kept people, like if you got caught tattooing out of your house without bloodborne pathogens, without airborne pathogen certification, stuff like that, you went to jail. And it is not like that here in southwestern Pennsylvania. And personally, me, it bothers me. I think it's disrespectful because you could open up a tattoo shop, you could tattoo people without any repercussions.
No,
And
I agree with that, man. I think like because like you're giving someone a big open wound, man. It's not like you're just getting like an ear piercing done.
exactly. And could I tattoo out of a house and it'd be completely fine? Percent. But that's because I took the time to learn bloodborne pathogens, cross contamination, all that stuff. Like hepatitis is a real thing. Blood diseases are a real thing, and they happen just like that. You could ruin somebody's life in an instant. Sorry, I kind of strayed a
No,
little bit
dude,
from where I was going.
that's what we want, man. I want you to speak your mind on things like
Right
that.
now, what they're calling the current state of tattooing right now, they're calling it the tappocalypse because all of those people who thought that mentors were mean, and don't get me wrong, some mentors are misogynist, some mentors are mean, some mentors are like sexist pigs and will try to like sleep with young girls under the premise of getting a tattoo apprenticeship. That is gross. Don't get me wrong. But a mentor's telling you you need to draw, trace, paint, clean, do all these things so that one day you could be just as good as me, if not better. That's not being mean. That's saying if you have the confidence to come up to me and ask for a piece of everything I've worked for, and then I give you all the tools and everything you need to do X, Y, and Z to become me, just like me, and hopefully better, that's not being mean. That's reciprocating that courage to do so, to ask for an apprenticeship, because I looked for an apprenticeship for years. So many people turned me down. It wasn't until somebody offered me one in Erie till I was like, yeah, I would love to do that. And I sold everything I had, got in my car, went to Erie. I thought I was going to make money. Boy, was I wrong. But at the same time, there I was with a bachelor's degree, cutting lawns, shoveling snow, doing side jobs here and there just to get money so that I could put gas in my car and go to a job where I wasn't making any money for like, I don't even know, the first year. I didn't make any money at all. Like, but that's just reality. But where I was getting at with the whole tapocalypse thing is a lot of the people who bought machines and thought tattooing was so easy because, good artists make it look real easy, like we're just drawing and it's nothing. But in actuality, we're sitting there doing that tattoo with 20 years worth of experience. You get what I'm saying? So like that shit just doesn't happen. But what we're seeing right now is a lot of those artists who tried to like skip the line, they're all quitting because they don't realize that tattooing is a journey each and every year, and it's a giant roller coaster. There's at least 3 months out of every year where you don't make money, and you got to prepare for that. So like I was saying earlier, it's not for the weak, and it's you got to hustle, you got to work hard, you got to realize what you got to do during those 3 months to get people in for the next 9. You get what I'm saying?
No, I get it completely, man. I think one of the biggest things that you said that I really resonate with now is, well, no matter what I'm doing, whether it's the gym and there's someone with more expertise than me, or at work, is I try to open my mind. Now, there's a difference between someone being a degrading asshole when they're trying to teach you
Yes,
something, and someone like being harsh on you, but in the same way, you can tell it comes from a place for them wanting to see growth from you. And I always feel like whenever you keep your minds closed to any type of criticism at all. I mean, I don't know how people expect themselves to grow as a person, because unless you're
exactly.
willing to do that, and I'm not just saying, go up to some hobo on the street that's overdosing and take advice from him, but like most people, that are doing what you want to do and are doing better than you, I just feel like it's silly to not take wisdom from them, because it's like you just need to be grateful they're even willing to give it to you, for the most part.
Let you through the door.
Yep.
That's the whole thing, is it's a club and not everybody's invited. So, like, if an artist lets you through the door, gives you a machine, puts a machine in your hand, lets you mess up so that you can overcome your own self and your own fears and your own self-doubts, that is an apprenticeship. Notice how earlier I said I've taught 6 people, 3 people still tattoo, and 3 people talk to me. The other 3,
Don't tattoo at all anymore.
nope. Oh, because what I do, I give you kind of like an outline of all the things you need to do, all the books you need to read, all the things you need to trace, all the things you need to draw, all the things you need to paint, this and that. I make my apprentices do 100 tattoos where it has to be 50 black and gray and 53 color, no bigger than the palm of the hand. And after about so many tattoos, I don't watch them anymore. I let them make their mistakes so that they can learn on their own how to overcome that, because that is tattooing. Learning how to overcome an obstacle and be the best you and do the best tattoo that you can possibly do each and every day, because each person is different. Every reaction is different. Every piece of skin is different. And you have to learn right then and there how to overcome all those things and kill shit daily.
No, I love that, bro, and I feel like that's something you can take to other areas of your life again. I mean,
Everything.
I don't feel like there's really too many things that are hard to be good at that you can get good at without messing up 50,000 times first.
Yeah. All my mistakes. I mean, 21 years in the game, I still make mistakes. I'm not perfect. You know what I mean? I'm that bubble in the glass dish to show you that a human made it. Like I am. I'm not perfect. I can do a really good tattoo, but I mean, I'm my harshest critic, like I'll do what I think is a really good tattoo, and then the person who got it and everybody that sees it, it blows up online, blah, blah, blah. Be like, oh my God, that tattoo. And then I come home, I put it on my iPad and I zoom in on it. And I'm like, oh, I screwed up here, I screwed up there. I could have done this better. But that's good because I don't want to be some stagnant pond in some, like, the slough down in Layton, Pennsylvania, where
Yeah.
it's all the water doesn't move. So it's all green and gross. That's what happens when people don't want to learn. I'm 21 years in the game. I still trace things. I still draw things constantly, every single day. Anytime I feel myself slipping, I grab a book of Sailor Jerry and just trace it.
Kobe.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Anytime I feel myself slipping, I smack myself and I go back to my roots. I go back to the simplest form. Sometimes I go to this book called Flash from the Bowery. Like, if you thought traditional from Sailor Jerry was kind of like, I hate using the word dumbed down because there is actually like genius science to traditionalism because it's the foundation of everything. You have to learn that first in order to do everything else. And the people that don't, you can tell because they only care about the photo right then and there. They don't care about what the tattoo looks like a month from now, a year from now, 10 years down the road. Traditional sets that basis for things. But sorry that I go off on rants.
You're so
But
fine, bro.
to the untrained eye, when you see these old, really old, crude, like traditional designs, you're like, man, that's super dumbed down or whatever, this and that. Those designs humble me because those people that created those knew what they were doing. They knew how to create something that would look good 30 years from now, because the tattoo ages with you. So like, anyways, yes, I always try to humble myself. Or what I do is I'll find an artist that I really like and I trace the book from the left, then I trace the book from the right, and then I draw my own version of every image. And what happens with that is I learn to see how they saw, I learn to draw how they drew, but then I also take that, store it in my little memory banks here, my muscles, and then I apply that to my everyday. Yeah.
No, that's really cool kinda hearing how you practice art still, man. Because 'cause I'm sure just the reason I made the Kobe reference is I guess it's like Kobe or LeBron in basketball. I mean, how many times have they shot a layup, to be able to do it, like, effortless, and same with you doing your tattoos, like you said when you first started, how much more anxiety you have, and
Yeah,
due to
and I'm sure they
practice.
missed a bunch back in the
Yup.
day.
No, big
I'm
time.
sure every once in a while they go to throw a 3 and they don't even hit the backboard, nothing, air ball. Sometimes it happens, That's it.
No, 100%, bro. We're all human beings just trying to get through.
That's it, man.
So
That's
this
it.
this next one I got here is probably gonna be our last one for this time, my friend. This one's
Okay.
good though, so prepare yourself.
Ooh, ooh, okay.
So the podcast, that I made is called the Dopamine Dealer.
Yeah.
Aside from the art and the music that I know are two of your biggest passions, when the world is absolute trash, what is one cheap, simple thing that you do to kind of give you your dopamine fix? And don't say crack.
No, I don't do crack, man. Yeah, the only thing I do anymore is take a gummy before I go to bed to help me sleep.
And
That's
nothing
it.
wrong with that, bro.
No, nothing wrong with that. This is gonna be funny. So, anytime the world gets to me, I do one of 3 things, okay? And they go in order of importance. Number 1, I put the Muppets on.
Gangster.
Right? Yeah, Kermit the Frog, like, the world needs the Muppets, man. Like, I'm so happy they're coming back and Seth Rogen's bringing back the Muppet Show because for me, the Muppets just, like, they do it for me. That kinda goes back to your first question, when I bring home all the traumas of the day, I'll go on Disney Plus and I'll watch the Muppets. As crazy as it may sound, the Muppets just cheer me up.
Did
That's
you like
my
him as a kid?
Loved them as a kid.
I was just trying
And
to see if that tied in.
and my niece Brooke really loved the, Kermit the Frog playing the banjo.
No,
Um,
definitely iconic.
yeah, yeah, the "Why Are There So Many Songs About Rainbows?" Like, so good. But yeah, I go to that, that's my number 1. Number 2, I play my guitar. Uh that anytime I grab my guitar and just play for a little while, it takes away all my stress. I actually created the alternate persona of Douglas the Iron Lung just to deal with past traumas, truthfully, because I could be that other person on stage. I could be that other person that I needed to be, which is the person I am now. That's why I created that. Just took me a little while to catch up to it. Now I'm full Iron Lung, whether it's music or not. Yeah.
No, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah. And then lastly, I play some video games with some friends. That or go and hang out with my boys, Jeff and Jerry. We usually go skiing, snowboarding, or just like go out camping, just leave society and get away.
That's my ultimate favorite, dude. There's nothing like a day in the woods. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing that
Detoxing.
this weekend.
Yeah?
So
Where you headed to?
Tionesta, then to Salamanca, then to Ellicottville. I need a
What state's
vacation.
that?
So PA at first, and then New York.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah, there's some beautifulness. I
Not
know
too
you
far.
sent me before from New York that's one of the closest states that I haven't really got to touch myself that I plan on it this
Upstate New
summer for
York,
sure.
bro, I can't recommend it enough. Letchworth State Park is one of the greatest parks in the country. Absolutely gorgeous. Upstate New York, though, absolutely beautiful. Go. Get in the car, go.
No, I remember you sent me pictures. Did you say Lettsworth?
Letchworth State Park,
Yeah, I
yeah.
remember them pictures
'Cause
you sent me, bro.
we also went to what's that other place? I'm having a brain fart now. But anyways, there's a place, but it has so many steps. It's annoying. It's like the Watkins Glen. People are all like, "Oh my God, Watkins Glen doesn't hold a candle to Letchworth, bro. Letchworth is awe-inspiring, just
How far
beautiful."
is that from Pittsburgh?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't. It's less than 6 hours.
Oh, that's
Just
all
do
I
it.
care about. Yeah, that's not bad at all, bro.
Yeah,
I'm
it's like
not.
4. I want to say it's like 4.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I might have to do that really soon,
do
brother.
it. Do it. Take a little road trip. Yeah.
Now we all need those sometimes, man. When life gets in the way, sometimes it's you just got to go outside and play. You know.
Yeah. Dude, that's one of my favorite sayings that one of my favorite bands ever said. Life gets in the way of living. And it's so true.
Yep. And when it does, that's why I think if, when you go out in nature, it's like you leave your phone in the car, you just go out there, and then you're like, okay, you know what? Life isn't that bad. You put
Yeah.
yourself out of that constant stimulation, all the media,
Yep.
all the bull crap they spill at us, but you hear those birds chirping, that water's still running. You know, things
Mhm.
really aren't that bad.
Exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
hey man,
Yeah, we can't let our devices own us.
nope, nope.
That's true to that.
We do not want to do that. Human socialization, in my opinion, is so important, and I feel like that's big reason the world is the way it is today. Is we all, we get on Facebook and
Yeah.
we're keyboard warriors and we talk shit on each other because of race, because of politics, because of this and that. And it's like at the end of the day, just talk to your neighbors, talk to that guy at the store, say hi, what's up, and you'll see that
Yep.
most of us are we're all different in our own ways, but the core values in 95% of us, I feel like, are very, very similar.
Dream more. I said something the other day to end it with this is, you know, I live here in West Homestead. I got neighbors to the left of me. I got neighbors to the right of me. At the end of the day, they're all my neighbors, and I wave to them all. That's something we need to go back to as Americans. And it goes from the bottom all the way to the top. Unity is more important than anything. It's when they single you out that the fear all of a sudden takes a hold of you. When you're together, you realize you can accomplish anything. I know that if anybody on this street has a problem shoveling their driveway this week when we get all the snow, it don't matter which side you're on. We're going to shovel that driveway and make sure you can get to work because we're all neighbors. That's
No,
it,
that
bro.
that was beautiful, bro. That's exactly what the world needs more of. And I again, I appreciate you so much for coming on, man. Who knows?
Appreciate
Maybe
you.
6 months from now, I'll hit you up again and we'll touch base again. Just trying to put some good energy out there. And I figured the guy that motivated me and made me realize that being nice is cool was the perfect guy to have on here today. And you truly live by those words, Doug. And you mean a lot to me and a lot to everyone who tattoos you or knows you, man. Just remember that.
Thanks, bro. I appreciate you.
No problem, bro. Well, that's the last thing we got for today's episode. I appreciate all you for tuning in. Hopefully, you enjoyed Doug as much as the rest of us do, and maybe you learned a couple pointers, whether it be for tattooing or simply for mental health. Until next time.